All right, well, we've got some big news dropping today, and I don't want to waste any time. I want to bring in the Chief Operating Officer at SMI, Mike Burch, to share some really exciting news that I think the fans are going to be thrilled to hear. So what can you tell us?
Well, I think the big news is for this fall, 2025 or 2026, I guess, actually, I'm still thinking about last year. For this fall, we are going to be running the oval at Charlotte Motor Speedway, moving from the Roval to the oval. So, it should be a lot of fun as we enter the new chase era to go back to the oval. Should be really cool.
So what prompted this decision to go back to the oval?
Well, like most of our decisions, it starts with the fans. And as our founder, Bruce Smith, said, we work for the fans. And Jessica Fickenshire, the acting general manager at Charlotte Motor Speedway, is always listening. And we actually did a survey of people who had not come to the fall race last year. And the number one reason why people had not returned was they wanted to come back and see the oval. So we looked at that. We looked at what it would take for us to put that on. And with this whole kind of back to the future mode that we're in with bringing the chase back and eliminating cutoff races and just a different dynamic in the fall, we thought, well, what a great time to go back to the oval and run it. The racing has been so good. I think a lot of fans have said, boy, we'd really like to see more of these cars on the oval. So here's an opportunity to deliver that.
Now, you talk about the fans. There's a lot of fan pros that come to oval racing, camping, triple header ticket packages. If you buy tickets to both race weekends, both in May and in the fall, what are the things that stand out to you in terms of the fan experience now that we're going back to the oval?
Well, the big surprise, I was down at the ticket office this morning talking to our great ticket agents, what they had heard on the rumors, and the big push was for camping, and people are really excited that turns 1 and 2 would be reopened for camping. The other interesting thing is people wanted to make sure they could get their seats they had for the 600. Watching the Roval, there was a whole different dynamic in terms of where the action points were. That heartburn turn into the infield, and that was a really popular spot, and where they exited back out onto the oval, down towards turn 4 with the front stretch chicane was another big spot. And going back to the oval creates different sight lines and different passing zones, and so many people have great seats for the 600. They said, hey, I want my old seats back. And so those are the things that we're looking forward to making sure that we can deliver on for the fall.
This is, I'm sure, a bigger decision than just saying, hey, we're going to do this. You have to talk to Bank of America. You have to talk to NASCAR. There's a lot of logistical things that go into play before you can actually make a move like this. What was the process like from first having the idea to go back to the oval to finally being able to execute it to today?
Well, again, I'll give a lot of credit to the team at Charlotte Motor Speedway. They were the ones who kind of first pushed the envelope with the what if, what are the pros and cons, what if we could do this, and took that to Marcus Smith, and Marcus thought, yeah, this would be really interesting and cool to try, and then we start talking to the key stakeholders, and obviously Bank of America has been a great partner for the fall race. So Matt Long, our head of sales at the Charlotte Motor Speedway, met with them, and they were on board with it. Then we made a call to NASCAR and talked to them and got their perspective, and they were all for it. And most importantly, we talked to our friends at Versant, USA Sports, who broadcast the race, and said, what does this mean to you? And also talk to the folks at the CW and their production team, because it's not just the Cup race. We've got a truck race with Fox. We've got an O'Reilly Auto Parts race with the CW. So again, everybody's feedback and perspective, and what were the pros and cons on it, and everybody was really enthusiastic about it. So here we are.
We were just talking about nostalgia, and before we started taping, it's the chase, the oval's back. We were talking about some of our favorite moments, like when Brad Keselowski and Matt Kenseth had tempers flaring, when Tony Stewart and Brad Keselowski were getting after it. What are you most excited about with an oval race in the chase at Charlotte Motor Speedway?
Well, I think it's the overall chase as a whole, and the whole dynamic of what is this new point system going to do week to week? What storylines develop and evolve, and drivers continue to have to be consistent and excellent across the board in all the different tracks that they encounter. We still have road courses on the schedule. We still got short tracks. We still have super speedways. We still have mile and a half. So the dynamic really doesn't change. Like the champion is going to be the one who is most consistent. But now that we have this 10 race chase and you have a different set of pressures, a different sense of urgency, but you bring back some great memories from the original chase that every one of those 10 races really mattered. Yeah. And a lot of feelings got hurt and a lot of emotions flared. And certainly the Roval produced so many iconic moments, going back to that very first one with the chaos of the final chicane and Jimmy Johnson spinning. And, so we can certainly remember and recognize those, but know that the Oval is also, because of the pressure of having to perform consistently over those 10 races, is going to add a whole new element to the Oval in the fall.
You said it right there. The Roval produced a lot of great moments. This is not the Roval was a bad thing. It's just the Oval is a great product and we want to bring it back. Is there a potential that we could see the Roval return or some other innovation in the future?
We love it. We love innovation, and we really think about what's the right thing at the right time. And this felt like an opportunity to put the Oval into the chase. Certainly the Roval remains a possibility, and as we go forward, we've heard from a lot of fans who like road racing, and there's some that are disappointed that that we're not going to have the Roval, but there's always that possibility that down the road it just gives us another tool to keep things fresh, to keep innovating, to keep moving things forward, so that we make the fall and the chase really interesting.
I want to ask about SMI as a whole for this year. North Wilkesboro is returning to its first points race since the 90s. What is the excitement level around being able to revive that racetrack now to its fullest potential, back to points racing in the Cup Series?
Yeah, I think the big thing when we looked at it was that 30 years, and it's been 30 years, and you only get one chance to celebrate 30 years. So we thought, you can wait another year, but why not do everything we can to take advantage of putting on a points race? And the logistics and operations really aren't that much different. A race is a race, whether it's for points, or whether it's for cash, whether it's the All-Star race, or whether it's a points race. What it takes to put it on really doesn't change that much. So that wasn't as much of an issue. The next question was, when's the best time to run it? And certainly the mountains of North Carolina, in the summer, one of the more attractive geographic places to host a summer race. And then obviously the chance to take the All-Star race to the Northeast. And growing up in Pennsylvania myself, never really had the chance to come down south to see the All-Star race. But the fact that it's in a lot of people's backyards, on a track, the Monster Mile, that creates some really interesting racing and possibilities for the All-Star. And as we continue to work on developing the format and the rule set around that, and the fact that it's a triple header in Dover, more racing than we've ever delivered up there. So I think fans should take advantage of the opportunity to see an All-Star event, to see a triple header, because as we start to look towards 2027, where does the All-Star race go? How does the schedule evolve? Those are all things that we'll take a look at. And again, we want to keep things fresh, keep things interesting, and kind of share the love. And there's a balance between making sure that you have date equity and people make plans around certain times of the year. So certainly we see with the Coke 600 Memorial Day weekend. So you don't just ever want to move something for the sake of just moving it, but it needs to have a reason. And a lot of that is driven by fans and their reactions. And we look at what's the fan looking for, what's the corporate support that we're getting from a sponsorship and a hospitality perspective. Where do things fit in the broadcast schedule? This year, we had some things with the World Cup coming up that we had to move some races around. We had to kind of switch Atlanta and Sonoma to accommodate some World Cup matches. So every year, there's all kinds of considerations. It's never just one thing. It's all these different pieces that we take a look at and trying to come up with a schedule that makes the most sense, first for the fans and then for the rest of the stakeholders in the sport.
How do you manage all that? Oh, my gosh. And you said something, too. You said 2027. So even though we just started 2026, you're already thinking about 2027. When does the planning for 27 come into play this year? I mean, is it pretty early?
Well, I would say when the schedule came out, but the schedule came out and now we're making a change to the schedule. Right. So it's a really dynamic situation. But for me, the key is to making sure that we're asking all the people involved and our general managers and our individual speedways play a really important role in that because they understand what's going on the ground in their specific markets. And sometimes when you are considering moving a date, you have to look at what else is going on in that marketplace and what other considerations. You have to look at sponsors. A lot of sponsors are tied to specific times of the year or specific marketing objectives they're trying to achieve. So it's not just as easy as, oh, I just think this would be good or we think this is good. You put some ideas out there. You do draft after draft after draft. You get perspective. You get feedback. Then you start talking to the broadcast partners and seeing what other commitments they have. And as we brought on, new broadcast partners with Amazon, now with TNT and now with, USA Sports and Versant becoming separate from NBC, they have a whole new set of inventory and they're figuring out what does their broadcast calendar look like. And obviously a key partner for those last 4 races leading into the chase and the 10 chase races. So the more that you share information, the more you seek perspectives, I think helps you come up with the best possible schedule. And every schedule, every decision comes with compromises. So you can never make everybody happy, but you try to make the most number of people happy. And then you go out and you do it and you see how it responds. And then you make changes and you make adjustments and hopefully you make improvements.
Wow. That is so many moving factors that I knew about, but I didn't really know about. So I appreciate you enlightening me on that. Last question I have for you. As we look at our PRN roster of races, we've got an exciting first couple of ones to kick off the year for us at Echo Park Speedway, at COTA, and Las Vegas. What are you most excited about in terms of getting the year started?
Boy, at Echo Park Speedway racing is always fantastic. And, the cars 3 tongues at the finish line race we had a couple of years ago. That's so that is such a fantastic facility. The fans, in Atlanta, in the Southeast, are always so much fun to be with. But the racing at Echo Park Speedway has been fantastic. Love going to Austin, Circuit of the Americas. The new course that we put in last year with making some changes, kind of shortening it up a little bit to get the cars in front of the fans more often, I think produced really good racing and really interesting racing, and interested to see if SVG can continue his road course dominance, see if somebody can knock him off, if some people have spent some time in the simulators over the winter and
That's
picked
exactly
up some road course tips. And then you're going out to Vegas. I mean, the fans out there, the West Coast fans, don't get as much racing, and Las Vegas is such a great racing town. And as we saw with the induction of Kurt Busch into the NASCAR Hall of Fame, and the number of fans who came out and supporters to be there to witness his induction, that Las Vegas and Nevada and California, and actually we draw a lot of people from Washington and Oregon and Utah as well, that the West Coast really enjoys racing. So getting out there and seeing them and seeing that facility, and again, seeing how this new point system is going to affect week to week as drivers battle to accumulate points so they can be one of those 16 drivers to make it into the chase is what I'm looking for. 100%.
I don't think there's ever been more anticipation to start a NASCAR season than this one, the 2026 season. And with today's announcement of going to the Oval again, I think that just makes it even more anticipated. I can't wait to see it. We're going to start with great racing at Echo Park Speedway, finish off the year at another great SMI property at the Charlotte Oval. So, Mike, a lot of great stuff for 2026. I appreciate you taking the time.
I can't wait to see cars on the track.
Me too.